long before its modern skyline shimmered with glass towers, and its name appeared on tech startup job boards around the world. Waterloo was quiet farmland, an expanse of hardwood forests and fertile ground settled by a deeply pragmatic and devout group of Mennonite families from Pennsylvania. They came not for riches, but for land, peace, and the promise of a future free from the pressures of an increasingly industrial United States. In these rolling hills of Upper Canada, they laid the first foundations of a community that would 2 centuries later reinvent itself as the unlikely epicenter of Canada's tech industry. Waterloo's recorded story begins in earnest in the early 19th century. Though the land had long been home to indigenous peoples. In 1806, a group of Pennsylvania Dutch Mennonites purchased the land that would eventually become Waterloo Township. Among them was Abraham Erb, who would build a sawmill in 1808 and a gristmill in 1816, giving birth to the settlement that would eventually bear the name Waterloo, a nod to the 1815 battle that ended Napoleon's reign. The Mennonites were not empire builders. Their focus was community, self-sufficiency, and spiritual integrity. Yet their practical skills, carpentry, agriculture, blacksmithing, laid the infrastructure for a society that would expand with steady, confident steps. Through the 19th century, the township grew as German-speaking immigrants, both Mennonite and Lutheran, brought their language, culture, and industrial spirit to the region. By mid-century, the settlement had developed mills, tanneries, foundries, and furniture workshops. Horse-drawn carriages gave way to the rumble of steam locomotives, and Waterloo was incorporated as a village in 1857, a town in 1876, and a city in 1948. As the 20th century dawned, Waterloo thrived on traditional manufacturing, furniture, textiles, linseed oil, and machinery. Companies like the Waterloo Manufacturing Company built engines and agricultural equipment used across the country. Meanwhile, Seagram's, though based in Waterloo's sister city of Kitchener, employed hundreds locally in whiskey production and industrial alcohol. During the Second World War, Waterloo's industries pivoted to the war effort, manufacturing parts and equipment needed for battlefields overseas. In the post-war era, the city experienced the same population boom and suburban expansion as many North American towns. What had been farmland for a century was now being subdivided into family homes and commercial strips. Yet by the 1950s, Waterloo's leaders were looking beyond smokestacks and shop floors. The future, they believed, would be built not just on brawn, but on brains. In 1957, a small group of visionaries established a new university on the city's outskirts. The University of Waterloo was radical for its time. Its cooperative education model, pairing academic terms with paid work placements, sought to close the gap between classroom and industry. It was a bold idea, and one that quickly attracted attention. Wilfrid Laurier University, meanwhile, evolved out of the Lutheran Seminary founded in 1911, anchoring Waterloo's liberal arts and business programs with an equal sense of ambition. Together, these institutions began to attract students from across Canada and the world. But it was the University of Waterloo's focus on math, computer science, and engineering that would alter the city's trajectory most profoundly. The seeds of Waterloo's transformation into a tech powerhouse were planted in the 1980s, when two UW engineering students, Mike Lazaridis and Douglas Fregan, founded Research in Motion, RIM. Initially a small electronics consulting firm, RIM would rise to global prominence in the late 1990s and early 2000s, with the invention of the BlackBerry. At its peak, the device was the must-have communications tool of world leaders, business executives, and professionals. It changed the way people worked, and for a time, it made Waterloo one of the most important cities in global tech. Though BlackBerry's dominance faded in the 2010s, its legacy lives on in the dozens of startups, spin-offs, and tech veterans it left behind. What made Waterloo exceptional was not just its ability to produce tech companies, but its unusually dense and collaborative innovation network. A student at UW might intern at a startup, join a lab on quantum computing, pitch an idea at a velocity competition, and receive funding, all without leaving the city limits. The culture of intellectual risk-taking, combined with Waterloo's manageable size, allowed ideas to move quickly from prototype to product. Waterloo is more than just a startup town. It became a place where science itself was reimagined. The city emerged as a global hub for quantum research, with firms collaborating alongside physicists exploring the nature of information, matter, and space-time itself. The Waterloo of today is a city shaped as much by code as by culture. Its downtown core, once lined with furniture shops and clothing mills, now houses co-working spaces, tech campuses, indie cafes, and the hum of constant reinvention. Google's Canadian engineering headquarters is nestled in the restored brick building just blocks from where steam locomotives once unloaded grain. Startups share space with artists, and students move fluidly between classrooms and venture capital pitch meetings. And yet, Waterloo hasn't lost touch with its past. It remains a city where horse-drawn buggies from nearby Mennonite farms can still be seen at the farmers' market, where German heritage is celebrated with Oktoberfest, where log schoolhouses and 19th century towers stand just a short walk from quantum labs. The blending of tradition and innovation is part of what makes Waterloo unique. It's not a city that obliterated its past in pursuit of the future. Rather, it layered its industrial and cultural history into a new kind of urban identity, one that respects both its origins and its evolution. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This channel has a lot more videos of cool places in Ontario that you can all find in the playlist that is linked in the description below this video. You can also find on this channel's playlists videos of all the different countries throughout North America, Central America, South America, Southeast Africa, and Central and Eastern Europe. So I have a playlist of all those countries that I've visited available on the channel. And if you'd like to follow my continuing adventures, you can click on the red subscribe button and click on the bell to be notified when new videos come out. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.